You step into an elevator. You press a button. You wait for the doors to close. It's the most unremarkable thing your body does in a given day. No thought required, no memory formed. You do it and you forget about it. Because nothing about an elevator ride is supposed to be worth remembering. On January 31st, 2013, a 21-year-old woman named Elisa Lam stepped into an elevator at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She pressed several buttons. The doors did not close. What happened in the next 2 minutes and 7 seconds became one of the most watched, most argued over pieces of surveillance footage in the history of unsolved deaths. You have probably seen it. Even if you don't remember her name, you remember the elevator. Elisa Lam was a student from Vancouver. She was traveling alone along the West Coast, posting updates on her Tumblr blog, checking in with her parents by phone almost every day. She was bright. She was funny in her writing. She also lived by bipolar disorder, something she wrote about openly online, something her family knew, something that, looking back, investigators say mattered more than almost anyone realized at the time. She checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26th. The Cecil had a reputation long before she had arrived. It had housed at least 2 convicted killers as guests. Multiple people had died by suicide from its upper floors. By 2013, it had been rebranded for budget travelers, but the building's history clung to it the way old buildings hold onto cold. For 4 days, nothing seemed wrong. She texted her parents, she moved hotels once, then changed her mind and stayed. Then, on the 31st, her parents stopped hearing from her. They called the Los Angeles Police Department. A missing persons report was filed. Detectives requested surveillance footage from the hotel. And on February 13th, they released a portion of it to the public, hoping someone watching at home might recognize something they couldn't. What the public saw made the case explode. In the footage, Elisa enters the elevator. She presses multiple buttons on the panel. The doors stay open. She steps out into the hallway, looks both directions, then steps back in. She presses more buttons. She gestures with her hands, something calmly, something erratically. At one point, she appears to be hiding behind the elevator wall, peeking out as if something was watching. The doors never closed. After roughly 2 minutes, she walks out of the frame and is never seen on camera again. No one else appears in the footage, not before her, not after her. Online, the video spread within days. People slowed it down by frame. They zoomed into corners of the frame looking for a second shadow, a second set of hands, a face that wasn't hers. Some viewers swore they saw something holding the elevator doors from outside, just out of frame. Forensic video analysts who later reviewed the tape for documentary investigations found no evidence of tampering and no evidence of second person, but they also couldn't fully explain her behavior using the footage alone. 19 days passed with no further leads. Then, on February 19th, hotel maintenance staff responded to a guest complaint about the water. It was low pressure, it tasted strange, it had a faint discoloration. A maintenance worker climbed to the roof to check the hotel's rooftop water tanks, large cisterns that fed the building's plumbing, and opened the hatch to one of them. Elisa Lam's body was inside. The water tank required her to climb a ladder bolted to the building's exterior, lift a heavy hatch lid, and lower herself in alone, fully clothed, with her room key and other belongings later found inside the tank with her. There was no evidence of forced entry to the tank. There was no evidence of sexual assault. Toxicology showed she had not been taking her prescribed bipolar medications consistently in the days before her death. The coroner's office ultimately ruled the death accidental, attributing it to drowning with bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. The theory investigators settled on was that an untreated manic or psychotic episode caused her to behave erratically, to believe she was being followed or watched, and ultimately to climb into the tank herself, whether to hide, to escape a perceived threat, or in a state of confusion about her surroundings. It is a clinical explanation. It does not feel like one when you watch the footage. Forensic psychologists who later examined the case for documentary research, including commentary featured in investigative work by journalist John Dean, pointed to something specific. Psychotic episodes during manic states can produce exactly the kind of behavior seen in that elevator, pressing multiple buttons without urgency, stepping in and out as though reality is looping, hiding from something unseen, is a documented pattern in cases involving untreated bipolar disorder with psychotic features, the kind of detail clinicians recognize immediately, and the public almost never does, because untreated mental illness rarely looks like the way fiction tells you it should look. Here's the detail that still unsettles investigators the most. The water tanks on the Cecil's roof were sealed, heavy, and difficult to access. Hotel staff said it would have been almost impossible for a guest to climb up, open the hatch, and lower themselves inside without significant physical effort, and without anyone's help. No witnesses, no alarms, no second person in any camera anywhere in that building that night. Just a young woman, alone, doing something that made no apparent sense, captured for 2 minutes by a camera that happened to be running. The hotel removed the rooftop tanks afterward. Guests had been drinking and bathing in that water for 19 days without knowing. Maybe none of it was supernatural, maybe none of it required a second person, a cover-up, or anything beyond a mind in crisis in a building with bad luck baked into its foundation. That is, in some ways, a harder truth to sit with than a conspiracy would be. A conspiracy means someone else is responsible. An untreated mind in crisis means it could be anyone. It could be someone you know. It could, on a different day, be you. You probably ride an elevator today. You will press a button without thinking about it. The doors will close because they are supposed to. But somewhere, the next time they don't. The next time someone steps in, steps out, and looks at something only they can see, you might remember that the most ordinary moment of someone's day can be the last one anyone ever sees of them.